Hello everyone, in this video I'll be doing an EVIL Gale build guide for in Baldur's Gate 3. So Gale is a pretty good guy, but he does have a dark side and he has ambitions, so it actually works very well for an EVIL playthrough. So I want to run you through some great choices to make an EVIL Gale. So we're going to keep him as a wizard. I don't think it's good to take him out of that class because it just fits with the story so well. So as far as our spells go, I think that it's best to have Ray of Frost and Shocking Grasp here, as these are two very effective cantrips early on, because lightning and cold damage can be doubled in water. Minor Illusion is a really great cantrip as well, as it can group enemies together if you want to drop a fireball on them. But I'm actually going to take Bone Chill, because Necromancy just works very well for an evil playthrough, so that's what we're going to go with there. Now, for our spell slots, we actually have quite a few options, so I think that it's best to have Shield. Shield's fantastic. Find Familiar is also nice too to spread aggro early on. Magic Missile is an early game, really great cantrip. Actually, late game as well, good. We're going to take off those two there. Now, Ice Knife's another great cantrip. It does 3 to 22 damage and 2d6 of cold damage, can be doubled with the water. And Chromatic Orb's another really effective spell, because we can change the damage type of Chromatic Orb to make it a lightning attack or cold attack to double it in water. Mage Armor is great too. It gives your armor class plus to 13 plus your dexterity modifier, so early on that can actually be really great. Long Strider is nice too to increase movement speed, but even Sleep early on can shut down a lot of goblins quick and easy. But for the purpose of this build, I think I want to go with Mage Armor there. And then for our ability scores, something along this is pretty good. So Constitution and Intelligence being our two main big ones. Dexterity, we could probably pump a little bit higher. Maybe something like that, or actually we can go a little higher in the Wisdom, and I'll show you why. So that's going to be our options there for the Wizard level 1, and I'll be taking you through the full guide here and the armor, or the equipment that we'll be using at the end. So at level 2, we're going to go with the subclass Necromancy. This is actually, I think, the most underrated subclass. What happens is once per turn, when you kill a creature with a spell, you regain hit points equal to twice the spell level used, thrice if it's a Necromancy spell. So if we use a level 6 Necromancy spell to kill an enemy, that is 18 health points that we regain, which is incredible. So that's really nice. And then yeah, later on we'll also get some nice boosts from Necromancy. So for our extra 2 spells that we can take, Thunder Wave for the pushback is nice, and I guess Long Strider to set up the team is pretty good too. Fog Cloud's another option that I think is really good. Blinds and heavily obscures creatures within, so concentration. And we don't have that many concentrations early on, so we'll take that. Now, for our prepared spells, I think that it's best to go with Shield. Shield and Magic Missile should almost always be on. Find Familiar is a nice one too. And I also think that we should take, I guess at level 2, Chromatic Orb. That'd be our starting few spells there. And as we progress through the ranks, we can switch things up a little bit. So for level 2 spells, I think it's best to go with like a Scorching Ray or Clouded Daggers. This is a concentration. A lot of people really like this. Anytime I don't take Clouded Daggers, I get a comment being like, you should have taken Clouded Daggers. So Misty Step's another really good one too. I just want to comment on. And then for our spells, I think that something like this looks good. So Hold Person's actually very powerful. Requires concentration, but it's extremely effective. So we're going to go with that there. And then as we get into the next level, we're getting another cantrip. Firebolt is good, or Minor Illusion, which I mentioned, is great for grouping enemies together. Level 2 spells, I think it's best to take Misty Step and then Long Strider. And then for prepared spells, we'll take off Shatter there, and then we'll put on Misty Step for movement early on is actually really crucial, because it's a bonus action, can get us out of a lot of sticky situations when we don't have a lot of health. For our abilities, or for our feat, I think it's best to go with our increase to intelligence. It's not good to leave things on a odd number, and again, this is going to be Gale, so it's not likely they will get the Hag's Hair there. So we can potentially, I guess, go with something like that. Depends how you want to run about building this, but next level, we get ourselves level 3 spells, which I think create counterspell. We do get Animate Dead a little bit later on, so while it's good to take it, I think it's best to not take it at this point. Fireball, Glyph of Warding, and Lightning Bolt are another really great options. I'm going to go with these two here. Glyph of Warding doesn't require concentration. You can set it on the ground. It's really nice. It's actually a really effective spell. So as far as the spell slots go, I think Counterspell. And we also have Haste, which is really good too. So If you have a sorcerer, a twinned haste is better than just a regular haste. So haste being one of the best spells in the game, giving you an action, become faster and gain +2 to armor class. Fantastic. It's very broken. But I think a sorcerer is better off casting it on multiple people because they can do that. And that's what we get for that level here. And then next level, we get ourselves the create undead. So, or animate undead. That's why I didn't want to take it earlier because we get it here. And when we use animate dead, we raise an additional corpse. Booyah, we get 2 of them. 2 for the price of 1. And they add our proficiency bonus to their damage. So intelligence +4, +5 gets added to it. So really nice there. And then for the spell slots, I guess it's good to go with something like a lightning bolt. I think that's one of the best options because this can be doubled in water again. That makes it really effective. Fear is another nice one. Targets drop everything and become fearful. They have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls. And when they drop their weapon, you can grab it, and then they become pretty much useless. But we're going to take Fireball. Actually, Vampiric Touch is actually pretty good early on. And again, we get the heal on this, so this will be 9 health points that we'd regain. Plus, you regain health points from using this as a damaging spell. So, it's actually pretty good. It's pretty good. Underrated. And, yeah, I'd like to take haste, but again, if you don't have someone that has haste, take haste. But Lightning Bolt's very powerful too, so we can go with something like that. Vampiric Touch also, you can take off one of these earlier spells if you don't find you're using, like Ice Knife, and take Vampiric Touch. We can regenerate spell slots, so that's a nice thing about this. So next, level 7, Minor Elemental. Works fantastic, and I'll get into why, because whenever I'll show you with the summons there, they are pretty effective. I also think it's good to take Ice Storm for setting up icy surfaces, just crowd control that the wizard does have, but he can always do with more crowd control. So we're going to go with those spells. You can alternatively take off Find Familiar if you find you're not using it because we have the Minor Elemental there, and you can take Ice Storm. But that's what we're going to go with for that level. And then at level 8, we get ourselves another choice of spells. Confusion's actually really good. It's like a big group fireball, basically. Confuse a group of creatures, causing them to wander at random and occasionally skip their turn. Blight is good for Necromancer. Plans take maximum damage from this spell, so you take 64 damage, and then you'll heal yourself for 12 health points, so that's actually quite nice. Everard's Black Tentacles is a good conjuration spell that can turn an area into difficult terrain. It's good, but I think that we'd be using other spells a little bit more. Now, for our feat, this is where things can get interesting, because I think it's actually good to take something that increases initiative. +5 to initiative is just fantastic. Alternatively, we can go with an ability score. You could have taken maybe 16, like intelligence instead of 17, and just bumped it up to 20 naturally this way. But I'm going to go with alert, because +5 to initiative is huge. Being able to be not surprised, too, when we want to go first in combat is pretty good, too. So, next level, we get ourselves Conjure Elemental, which is very effective. The more summons we have, the better. And then Cone of Cold, which is a fantastic spell, 8d8 of cold damage. It hits in a huge area. Not a lot of people are talking about Cone of Cold, but it's actually really good. So it'll benefit from Create Water, which you typically want to have like someone setting up Create Water to be able to deal double damage. And then for our spells here, we're going to take both of these. So Conjure Elemental. We have all types of elementals here, and that's where we get there for our level 9. At level 10, this is where we get our subclass feature, Injured Death, Undeath. You steep yourself so completely in death that your resistance to necrotic damage and moreover your health maximum cannot be reduced. So that's just nice to have. Having reduced health points kind of sucks, so having the preventative measures there is good. We'll take Fireball for a cantrip and Firebolt. We didn't take Fireball earlier, so we could actually take that. Planar Binding is another good one, and Hold Monster. Hold Monster is we can learn all of these as a wizard. If you have the scrolls for it, you can learn it. So Hold Monster is great. Paralyze a creature cannot move. And then Fireball. And then for our spell, we could even go back and take Scorching Ray, because that can be upcast for damage as well. And just have it nice to have a lower option there, too. Even Blight can be good, too, because this does it gives you the heal. And if you ever go against plants, you can swap this in, though. So we'll go with Hold Monster there for our spell. And then we get ourselves our level 6 spells at level 11. So Create Undead, you would think, works really well for this. And it does. It does. Don't get me wrong. But there's a much better option. We're going to go with Circle of Death, as this is a level 6 Necromancy spell. There's a staff we can get that'll let us cast this every single turn, so we'll be healing for 18 health points every single turn, plus doing a massive amount of damage. It gets pretty broken, so we want to have Circle of Death. And Eye Bite's another really good one, and Globe of Invulnerability points to that because it's actually really good. If you can get a scroll of Eye Bite, which is, I think, a little bit easier to find than the scroll of Globe of Invulnerability, go with either one that you. I mean, if you have the scroll for it, we want to have like one of each of these because they're very situational, and very Globe of Invulnerability will just straight up save you a lot of the time. But Eye Bite's actually really nice. You continually put people to sleep, which is great, and it's very effective. Usually, I'm a big Chain Lightning fan or Odaluk's Freezing Spear, but I think that Circle of Death and Eye Bite are kind of crucial here. So you can take like maybe something like that because we can regenerate our spell slots. So we want to take advantage of that as much as possible. Now, we can go full hog wild on the wizard, but I do think it's actually better to add in the cleric. And the reason being is because we get some nice spells that we can use, but also we get the Disciple of Life. When you cast a healing spell, the target regains additional health points equal to 2 plus the spell's level. And we also get a healing spell, so we can use it to keep our summons alive. And that's what's really big about this build. Alternatively, you can go the Tempest and you get a nice lightning react and the pushback, but I think Life's better because that gives us a bit more usefulness on the battlefield. And we're obviously going to be a Cleric of Mistra, just duh, makes sense. For our spells, since we have the nice Wisdom of +2 there, we get to take Create Water, which I mentioned can set up some really big damage numbers. And Healing Word's a nice bonus action heal to have. We can also go with Inflict Wounds as a nice Necromancy spell to take, but I think that Sanctuary is the best option because you can cast this on your undead, and then basically you can just stay as a like support unit, which is kind of funny to think, but it's actually quite effective for this, and I'll get into why when we go through the class there. So yeah, the Disciple of Life is great for this. As funny as it is to add in a cleric level to a necromancer, it's very effective. So our typical way about going about things would be to conjure in your elemental. You can use an upcast to do the Myrmidons, which are really strong, and the water Myrmidon will set up water for you with its healing vapors, so that can be really nice. But I also think the Earth Elemental is fantastic too because it has knockdown on its attacks. So with the Earth Elemental, you can just do your attacks, and then you can also do the Seismic attack, which will knock enemies down, and you can also warp around. It's really underrated. So we're going to summon in that, and then unfortunately I don't have any dead bodies in this area, so I can't use any of the create undead spells, but I should have grabbed some bodies and dropped them off for this video. But yeah, we want to have also the Ice Mephits here, so we get 2 of them, and they benefit from Create Water as well because they have the cold attack, so the Ice Breath there. They also have Death Burst, which explodes them, or the Chromatic Orb Cold. So you get 2 of them there. And they're actually really powerful despite, you know, not having much health. They distract the enemies from targeting you, so that's huge. We typically want to use as much Create Undead as possible. Create 2 Flying Ghouls, 2 Ghouls. I'm a fan of the Flying Ghouls. They're pretty good. They do range combat mostly, but really, all of these have their situational effectiveness. I'll get into gear in a moment here, but you typically would want to like set up with Minor Illusion because you can group a lot of enemies together. Like, this is unfortunately just going to get Volo and the dogs to come over there, but yeah, you can use that before battle. Create Water is another really nice spell that we can set up ahead of time and just drop it on the battlefield, and then we can also do like a Glyph of Sleep, which Glyph of Sleep doesn't affect our elementals and our undead. The undead are not affected by it. You can also do like, I guess there's no poison, but any type of poison damage it's not affected by. So for staffs, the Mark of Heshker is just fantastic because we can use the Kareska's Favor there, and then we can give ourselves the Bolts of Doom, which will give us Chain Lightning. Since we didn't take it, we can still get it, which is really nice. And then we also get a Lightning Bolt that we can cast for free. Plus, this gives us the Arcane Battery so that we can cast any of our spells for free. We also get a Create Undead from the Crypt Lord ring, so this gives us a Create Undead, which is really nice because it's a level 6 spell for free, and it fits the theme very well. Ring of Regeneration, 1 to 4 health points, and then we also have the Spellcrux Amulet to give ourselves a spell slot restoration. But then we can also pop on the Amulet of Greater Health to give us 123 health, and then advantage on Constitution saving throws, which we do have some concentrations, like Hold Person, so very effective. Now I'm going to switch out the armor here. Since we got the life cleric, we can actually wear heavy armor. This is armor that anyone can wear. We got a nice 25 armor class there, but you can use really any armor because we got the life cleric giving us any heavy armor. Hood of the Weave's nice. You can also go with the Helm of Baldur to get some healing and extra armor class. I like the Cloak of Displacement to give disadvantage on attack rolls against him, which is really good because he's a little squishier. Gloves of Dexterity gives you the life save. Actually, another really great option is Circle of Bones. This should be definitely your slot because it gives you Undead Ward. Allied Undead within 6 meters are resistant to bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing damage. And then it also gives you a free cast of Animate Dead, which is nice just to have. But what's nice about this is they take half damage from physical sources. That's pretty huge because it's going to mean your Undead live a little longer, protect your team a little longer, and can deal damage for a little bit longer. So that's a very effective way about going about that build. Now, I want to see if I have it on this. Yeah, I do. The Staff of Cherished Necromancy. This is what makes this build a 10 out of 10. Because we get creatures have disadvantage on saving throws against your necromancy spells. But we also get a Life Essence Harvest. When the wielder kills a hostile creature with a spell, they will greedily absorb its energy and regain Life Essence until their next long rest. What does this mean? Great question. It means when we kill someone with Circle of Death, which heals us for 18, mind you, we get to continually cast it, because with this, it gives us a Life Essence. Life Essence lets us cast any necromancy spell for free. So we can cast it, kill a creature with it, cast it again, kill a creature with it, cast it again, continually getting 18 health points per cast. So it's really effective, and it targets in a large area too, so it hits a target and makes an explosion around them. It gets pretty broken, so you can go in and cast like a lot of damaging spells. It also gives you a little bit of light, which is kind of cool. But yeah, this actually gets very broken really quickly, especially when you get all your summons in and then just have like complete control over the battlefield. It gets quite unstoppable. So yeah, that's just one of the most effective builds in this game. The more summons you have, it turns the action economy in your favor. So the more summons you have, the more you can damage the enemy, and then the less likely they're going to be damaging you. So yeah, this is a very effective Evil Gale build guide for Baldur's Gate 3, going with the necromancy route. But yeah, let me know if you have any requests for future build guides in Baldur's Gate 3. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. Thank you so much for watching, and if you found this video useful, please hit the subscribe button below, and I'll see you in the next one.